Yo, what's going on, you guys, and welcome back to the Anime Plus podcast. This is your podcast for everything anime and anime related. And yo, we got a pretty fun episode today. We're going to be talking about some anime that would make amazing Netflix live action anime adaptations. Obviously, we had a banger in One Piece come out recently in the past year, and ever since then, in particular, my co-host Owen, bro, he's been hyping up anime adaptations like live actions. He's been saying, like, honestly, man, if you guys watched the earlier pods, you know he's been shitting on them. But after the One Piece one, he's been messing with them. You know what I mean? So we came up with a list of 5 with 2 honorable mentions, and that's what we're gonna be going over this episode. But if this is your first time here, I'm your boy Aray, and I'm with my co-host Owen. Owen, say what's up.
Yo, yo, yo. I must preface this by saying that One Piece live action was insane, bro. Like, I'm usually not one to like this type of stuff, but to be honest, this one just, you know, the way they made it, the story itself, the way they not animated, but produced everything, that shit was just sick. I don't know. They made something that was very unrealistic into a realistic form, and it translated perfectly. And that was my main issue. I didn't think that they were going to really, how One Piece first of all has goofy ass looking characters. Then they have like the special moves, like Luffy's arm stretching and whatnot. It just seems like such a fake thing that bringing that into real life is extremely difficult. And what they did with the live action and the CGI that they used, impeccable. And I want them to do that with like a ton more, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. No, 100%. It definitely exceeded not just our expectations, but I'd say probably more than like 90% of anime fans' expectations as well. They weren't expecting a banger like that from Netflix. It got to a point where Netflix's CEO, Reed Hastings, even talked about One Piece in specific on their own earnings call, which is next level shit right there. So we know One Piece is like the goat of anime, but for it to be this impactful on even an earnings call of like a top 10 company is just absolutely insane. But yeah, enough glazing One Piece because that's not what we're gonna do on this episode. But first of all, I came up with this list myself, so you're gonna react to this list, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a hype. I'm hype. I know you got some good ones cooking up.
Yeah. So the way I did this is I tried to add something that didn't already have a live action adaptation. For example, there's been some that came out for Death Note, Attack on Titan, Tokyo Revengers, Dragon Ball Z. So we're gonna stay away from ones that I have actually seen the live action for it, like not watching the series or movie in particular, but just kind of seen like a trailer or whatever it is. So these ones don't have any live action adaptations at all. So that's my first criteria. And obviously the second one is I think it would be a banger as a live action. So yeah, on let's get started with the honorable mentions here. So my first honorable mention, and I'll have 2. The first one is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
No, that's a fire pick, yo. JoJo is, first of all, we have a ton of JoJo fans out there, but I feel like JoJo is one of those animes that I don't know, has a very selective fan base, and
Mm-hmm.
not too many new people get in unless they're heavily into anime. And even me myself, like I didn't get into JoJo until a lot later, since I started watching anime. But the one thing I'm trying to the point I'm trying to come across right now is live actions really help the growth of that particular anime, and we saw that with One Piece. I had a ton of friends that didn't watch One Piece at all, but they did tune into the live action. It's a good thing since you get more people that wouldn't really watch it to start watching, you know, genres or like shows that they normally wouldn't want to watch or wouldn't go out of their way watching. And JoJo's is one where like I don't think it's too difficult to really replicate what's going on. They just have to find 25-year-olds that are like 17-year-olds. Yeah, everyone in JoJo looks like they're fucking they got kids or some shit, and turns out they're in high school, bro. That's fucking crazy. But I don't know, the stands and all that stuff, the way they'd implement that, if they did implement that shit in a nice way, I think it'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, in my head, I can see them maybe using CGI, but also possibly using like an actor for certain stands. I think that would be really cool just to kind of see like imagine seeing Star Platinum behind like a ripped dude fighting. I feel like that would definitely be enjoyable, not just as a JoJo's fan, but in general, I feel like that would be pretty hype.
No, I would like. I don't know how they would implement it realistically. Like they would just through like raw CGI, but I think at least the first three seasons where they're not really using stands, but
Mhm.
they're kind of more using what were Hamon? They're using Hamon.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like stuff like that. Like I think they can easily implement just like with auras and kind of like actual just fighting. They could like sneak that in. But when it comes to like stands and whatnot, I think that's gonna be a bit difficult. But JoJo's is one where like the fans are so crazy that regardless of how it turns out, I think people are still gonna love it.
yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on to the next honorable mention. All right, Owen, this is going to be controversial, especially for you. But one anime in particular that I would love to see get a live action adaptation is Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah. Okay. So Full Metal is another one, just like JoJo's, where it's I don't think it's too complicated to really like replicate. I think since FMAB, in my opinion, is more like story and plot based, it makes it easier to do the live action. But just generally, like, yo, imagine seeing alchemy in real life. Yeah, that'd be
Right.
sick.
That's kind of why I threw this one on here because could you imagine like Edward building like a wall? I don't even know like stone or whatever. Like I feel like that would go hard, man. And seeing Scar in live action, ooh,
No, it would be sick. You know what it kind of reminds me of? You know those like 3D ads of like tech products where it's like, sometimes it's like keyboards or like headphones or like mice, and what they do is like they'll show you the full like 360 view of the product, and then they like dissect the product per se, like it kind of like pulls apart, and then you see every single little like component of the product.
yeah.
I feel like if they did like an animation like that where
Ooh.
you see all the components on the floor, and then you know how like they can repair anything by kind of like just touching it. If it repaired into like, Edward's brother's hands, like Elric's hand, what was his brother? His name? The big
Rick? No, what was it? I don't even remember, bro. That's the last name.
me, me either.
Edward.
No, Alphonse.
Fonz. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So if like they reconstructed his armor, because I know they did it a couple times where his armor got messed up and then they reconstructed it. But seeing like the animation of it being pieces and it turning into like a whole living arm or leg, that would just be an insane sequence. And I think FMAB can easily be done through live action for sure.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it would be the special effects and just kind of being able to rewatch FMAB without having to rewatch the actual anime. Because personally, if you guys have been here long enough, you know, both me and Owen don't really love it. I want to say we hate it, maybe Owen potentially, but yeah, I mean, I would definitely like to see it in a different media, and I feel like that would get me more enticed to actually enjoy the series because I know a lot of people like this series, and for me, it's just not there yet. So, I mean, I would love to see this one have another chance in a different media. So that's just me personally. But yeah, let's get into the top five.
Yeah, let's get it, bro.
All right, so this one would need a huge budget, and it probably would flop. But if done correctly, this one could potentially be one of the best ones. So it's high risk, high reward right here. So coming in at number five, I've got My Hero Academia.
Damn, bro. My Hero. The thing about My Hero is like there's so many characters that they gotta cover, and each
Yeah.
character has their own like superpower. But the thing is, we've seen this from like Avengers, we've seen superhero slash superpower movies, since before the 80s and whatnot, right? So like we've definitely got experience in that field of the superpower field. I wouldn't say that the anime studios do, but the studios like the Netflix studios and whoever does it for Netflix and whatnot, they definitely have, the right people to do it. I think it would be insane. I would think it would be like an end game like type of vibe where you see so much like just crazy shit happening, especially in those like war scenes. Like it would just be a mix of just straight action, and I would love seeing that. Even though I'm not the biggest My Hero fan, the story. itself doesn't really do it for me too much, even though it's better than Demon Slayer. The powers are sick, you know. If seeing Todoroki doing his thing, Endeavor doing his thing, we see All Might basically just be Superman. It's like a whole like it's like a 1-to-1 when it comes to like heroes, and I think they can easily do this in a nice way.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain arcs where I think it would do better than others. For example, the UA versus the League of Villains. I feel like that would go hard as hell. Again, like you said before, some powers don't necessarily probably wouldn't translate the right way. It wouldn't look the same way cinematography wise, if that's even a word. But definitely for sure, like that Avengers has done it, DC has done it. So I could definitely see it working out. Personally, I just think it would be sick to see some characters' abilities. Like, imagine you're seeing like obviously Deku's powers, like the way like you could see maybe electricity around him, something like that. But Bakugo's power with explosions, or even Todoroki's with the half fire, half ice. Like, I feel like that would go hard, man. And I feel like that's something that could, again, high risk, high reward. But that's definitely one that I would check out because not only would it be my hero fans and anime fans that would like it, but it's a pretty basic concept. Like superheroes are big here in the West as well, and I think that's something that would probably do numbers with the non-anime crowd as well. You know what I mean? Like obviously One Piece is different, and I hate to keep bringing back One Piece, but that did well with non-anime watchers. So I think that My Hero probably out of the ones on this list would do really well with non-anime fans.
Yeah, just especially since we've already seen something like, kind of similar to it.
Mhm.
We can we can expect that, but just generally like, bro, who doesn't want to see straight beams of ice, fire, and like just mayhem, bro? That's what we love about like Avengers. That's what especially what I love about Avengers is how they like fight the action, and I think My Hero is very similar in that fact. And I would love to see something like that animated because we haven't seen anything good from Avengers for a long time. So
Facts, facts.
didn't
I,
want to violate, but had to, bro, because low key anime on the come up, DC on the fall down. So we got to make our mark where we got to. You know what I mean?
mhm. Small little side note that might actually push Marvel slash DC to kind of step their game up if a My Hero series popped off. You know what I mean?
No, exactly, exactly. Like, bro, we're in a point where we were in a stage where like they didn't really have any competition.
Hmm.
So, it was based off what they did. And I know based from a friend of mine that's a huge, Avengers slash Marvel DC type fan. He
Yeah.
said that as of late, they haven't been going along with what the actual audience wants. They've been going more like PC related stuff, and some of the fans just don't want that, and they just want what was the old way, like how Avengers Endgame was, how
Mhm.
like the old Batmans were and whatnot, where it was just like classic crude and just nice storyline, great action, and not adding bullshit to it. You know what I mean?
Mhm. For sure,
But,
for sure.
but yeah, I think that whole scene needs some type of competition for sure.
Yeah, no, that would be great, man. We talk about this all the time, but again, competition leads to innovation, which leads to better products. So that would definitely be something that would be great for not just the anime industry, but the overall entertainment industry. But yeah, let's get into number four. So this one right here, I kind of cheated because I had multiple different anime in the slot, but I'm gonna kind of stick to one genre. So I'm gonna say sports anime, and not every single sports anime would fit. For example, and I know you watch Blue Lock, but I don't think that Blue Lock would fit this because there's a lot of internal thinking, and that would just not do well in live action, in my opinion. I feel like certain anime like Hajime no Ippo, where there's not too much thinking, you get, I guess you can get dialogue from the corners and certain fans and judges or whatever. And for those of you that don't know Hajime no Ippo, it's a boxing anime. So you can get some commentary on the side there. You know what I mean? So that would work really well. I think Ahiro no Sora, which is a basketball anime, very, very realistic, unlike Kuriko's Basket and Aoashi. Like those three are very realistic sports anime that I could see popping off with a live action. And I know you haven't really watched any of these on, but try to picture realistic sports series in a live action and anime adaptation. I feel like that would be proper.
No, I mean any type of sports anime is very realistically manageable for live actions.
Mhm.
But wait, you were saying Blue Lock is not a good fit?
Yeah, so I think there's too much internal thinking with that. Because could you imagine trying to make that
Oh,
into like
okay. Yeah.
real time? Like imagine like you see Isagi, he's like, oh shoot, I need to make this play, and then this is the certain step that I need to evolve into, and it just I feel like the one-to-one comparison for that, it just wouldn't make the right fit. That's why I didn't have that blue lock in there particularly.
No, I understand that completely because one of my friends, the same friend I was talking about, he doesn't like anime for that fact that they talk to themselves in their heads,
Mhm.
and it's not just like straight up brawl or uh, basically what he was saying is in regular shows they don't speak to themselves about what's going on, but you understand what's going on based off the reactions of other people or like what's going on within in the story and not within the dialogue per se.
Mhm.
And I do understand that fact. It does make because Blue Lock's it's more of a show rather than a movie. It
Mhm.
really slows down the pace of um how to like go through. But the thing is that's how anime is. We love anime because of those moments of the character thinking out loud to themselves and we're kind of in the character's shoes. That's like a very anime heavy thing. But then again, when you switch it to live action, you're kind of targeting, yes, you're targeting the original anime base, but you're also targeting newer people that just don't even watch anime in general. So you have to kind of cater to them. And I do understand your pick for Blue Lock
Mhm.
being that way. Um, but Hajime might just be like Creed, right? Like it
Yeah,
would.
exactly. I think it's perfect because you have the corners to kind of narrate what the main character is thinking. In general, there's not too much thinking from the main character. You know what I mean? Like it's more a do by action type of anime. But then you also have his friends and family in the crowd that kind of dictate, as well as the announcers, commentators, whatever you call them. But there's a lot of outside thinking that like Creed and Apollo, they all have that too. You know what I mean? So that kind of fits in pretty well. And I feel like it would be easily translatable.
Yeah, like Creed. I don't know if you knew this, but Creed actually had a ton of inspiration from anime.
Hmm.
The way they shot it, the way they like. I don't know if you remember those scenes where they were like physically fighting, and then you see them like face to face. Those face to face instances were very, um, what's the word? Inspired by anime.
Hmm.
Michael B. Jordan was a huge part of Creed 3 and he loves anime in general, so he wanted to take a portion he wanted to take some portions of anime and add it to a movie. And I mean he did that really well. Plus didn't they make like a little short or night novel or some type of like manga or
Yeah.
something?
So it was like small little anime. I don't know if you'd call it an OVA or I don't know what you would call it, but like a small little anime for just Creed, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean we've seen something almost similar, so Hajime would be insane. I know I haven't watched it, so I can't really say anything about how
Hmm.
the plot and everything would be, but I know the fighting and the action, if it's anything like Creed 3, would just do numbers.
Yeah, no, dude, it's definitely one of my favorite series, and I would watch that in any type of medium, whether it be anime, manga, or a live action. It's hype, man. Like, yeah, I don't want to start glazing it a little bit too much, but I don't know, man. I feel like this is a valid pick for me. But yo, you guys have to let us know what you guys think. But yeah, let's get into number three on.
Yeah, let's get it.
All right, so this one would low key be crazy, man, and I think it's maybe it's not easily attainable, but it's something that I could see happening. And coming in at number three, I got Doctor Stone.
Dr. Stone. Damn, brother, you picked a good one for this.
Hey,
Loki, I watched season 2 or what was it, season 3? Was it season 3 or season 4
it
actually?
was season three, I believe.
Yeah, I just binged the shit out of that last season. Like straight from 0 to 12, 1 to 12, watched it all in one day. All in one night. Or like 2 nights, I think. But bro, I'm like so hyped right now for Dr. Stone because of the trajectory the story is going. We're at such a good part of the story and we've learned so much. But it would be insane to see petrification in real life and how that works. How like, bro, I don't want to spoil it, but like, oh, have you watched the latest season of Doctor Stone?
I have, bro. I have. I'm up to date.
Okay, bro, the fucking five. I'm not gonna say what it is. I'm not gonna spoil. If you know, you know. Like the whole 5 meters 1 second. Yo, that shit was creepy as fuck when it was coming from the the sound system or like the sonar thing. Bro, that shit was creepy. I was like, yo, this is insane. But Doctor Stone is something that again, I think is very attainable because there's no superpowers in Doctor Stone, really. Like,
Mhm.
yes, we have the petrification device, and that's probably the only supernatural slash superpower thing. But we gotta also realize that in Doctor Stone, everything is explained to the T, to the chemistry, to literally the element, right? And I don't know if they explain it in the future or if they've explained it in the manga yet, but we know that the petrification device is scientific. So even though it's something that looks supernatural, I don't know, maybe it's something they can explain scientifically and it'll just, connect in a live action. But especially the first like 2 seasons, I think they can definitely replicate that easy and get people. I don't even think they have to really like, how One Piece, they're never catching up to the they're like like realistically they're never catching up to the anime with the live action. But I think with Doctor Stone, if they do movies of like each season, they do a quick because it's so fast paced. Doctor Stone is so fast paced that they could really do like movies with each season, and they can explain everything so well. Everything just makes so much sense in Doctor Stone that I don't think it would be hard to replicate into a live action.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I think honestly the best way might be doing movies. Like you can do like maybe 3 or 4 movies and you'd be already caught up to where the anime is. And I think it's only maybe one more movie after that. And honestly, like you said before, the progression and the pacing is perfect for a live action adaptation. Honestly, man, I think that maybe this one should have been higher up on the list now that we're talking about it. But yeah, I mean, it's perfect. Like it's supposed to be realistic. Sure, there's certain things that are exaggerated, but that's just how anime is. Like, like Kohaku or um, Taiju, like making these crazy jumps or the spear work. Yeah, they can tone that down in the live action adaptation. It's nothing too crazy that they can't do. It's not going to be challenging like how One Piece's abilities are. You know what I mean? Like I could definitely see it being easily attainable for them to kind of recreate that in live action adaptation format. But honestly, man, I think that this one would make a really, really good live action adaptation. And I don't know, man. Maybe I should put this one higher because I don't know what the next two on the list now.
No, this one was like a perfect pick. I mean, especially since I just watched it, so it's like everything is so fresh in my brain, and I'm hyped because I literally saw the last episode of the last, see that last episode I saw it last night. I
Mhm.
saw most of season 2 last night, so I'm still on that hype train from it. And also, like Senku's a goat. And the one thing I was actually like thinking about when it comes to Doctor Stone, and I think this is something that's very overlooked, is that the way they bring the story, they bring you on such an emotional roller coaster, but they do it so quickly.
Mhm.
Like yes, One Piece does the same thing, but they don't do it at the same speed as Doctor Stone. Same with AOT, they do it too. AOT, they might have a better grasp at it than One Piece in terms of like speed, but I think Doctor Stone, like even yesterday when, bro, like whenever it's like Senku has to like tee up and clutch up, there's
Mhm.
so many obstacles and little like things that you wouldn't expect to happen, and they always get put down to zero. Uh, and you know what I mean by like getting put down to zero, as in like
Yeah.
whatever they built, they took so long to build whatever, and then it just gets demolished or it just gets like stolen by the enemy or something dumb happens. Like the enemies just break it because they don't even know what it is. The fact that like they can make you happy and then sad and then back to happy so quickly, and that is due to like um plot twists. um they make the plot twist like it's kind of weird the way I see it. The way I see it is it's kind of nerdy and it's kind of like in a different sense. It's I see it in like in a sales manner. So if like in a B2B sales, it's a very long sales cycle, and that's how One Piece does it. They give you this piece of information, but and then they make you forget about that piece of information, and then after a very, very, very long time, they'll reintroduce that information and connect it to something else, and then you're like, oh, but the thing that like Dr. Stone does is like more B2C where it's like instant, like you're instantly like put down, and then right when you're feeling that like sad feeling, they'll instantly put you back up. But yeah, that's my thing about Dr. Stone. I feel like it's underlooked in terms of that aspect of like plot twists and just plot in general, and they do an amazing job.
Yeah, and plus on top of that, the characters are awesome. So that's just like a small little added bonus to that.
Yeah, the amount of characters and how each character plays their own specific role in like getting humanity to the next step.
Hmm. For
Yeah,
sure.
the
Yeah,
characters are fire.
yeah. All right, let's get into the top two. So coming in at number two, and I know you haven't finished this anime yet, Owen, but I got Heavenly Delusion as my second pick here.
Damn, yo, shit. Honestly, Heavenly Delusion, it's a good one. And you know what it reminds me of?
What?
You know the show Lost?
It kind of does.
Like they're like lost on an island. Instead,
Yeah.
like obviously they went to this island. They weren't lost on this island per se. But
Mhm.
again, this is still an unknown island. There's unknown stuff that they gotta worry about. Same thing with Lost, where they ended up stranded on the island. Then they realized there was island people. They kind of had to like mingle with them, figure
Yeah.
out how to get back. There was a whole like some people actually went back and then came back. It was a whole like Lost was one of my favorite childhood shows, and I think Heavenly like Hell's Paradise, Heavenly Delusion or Hell Paradise we're talking about.
Heavily Delusion. That's what I was talking
Oh,
about.
oh shit! That completely forget what the fuck I was saying. My dumbass, bro. Shit. I haven't watched it, so I can't really say anything about it.
All right. I don't know if you remember. I'm pretty sure you watched a couple episodes because we did a pod on
Yeah,
it.
yeah, no, I watched like literally 2 to 3 episodes, and I swear to God, I was gonna get in, but then too much other anime overwhelmed me. But that's a good reminder because I gotta go watch that.
So for those of you guys that haven't watched it, first of all, go ahead and watch it. It's crazy. In my opinion, could have been one of the top three picks for anime of the year of 2023. But yeah, there's so much mystery and lore and unknown factors inside of this anime that would make it a great and live action adaptation. First of all, there's like these weird little monsters, and like Owen said before, it reminds him of Lost, which I don't know if that's still relevant, but the reason why I think I said yes to that is because in the beginning there's so many unknowns, and there's so much of that in Heavenly Delusion. I would say it's kind of closer to like The Last of Us slash Maze Runner, just because there's like two different worlds to that. So the first of all is like where the main character is. Um, they only know like the certain part of the world, kind of like how they only knew about the maze. You know what I mean? In Maze Runner,
Yeah,
but
yeah. So, just sorry to cut you off right there,
yeah,
but
all good.
that Maze Runner analogy was perfect because I watched the first 3 episodes, I think, and I remember actually comparing it to Maze Runner, like having the exact feel of like there being an inside and then there being an outside, but then the outside you don't know what the outside is, but also you don't know what the inside is, but you're just more comfortable with the inside, but you know that you have to explore the outside. Like it's a that type of situation.
Exactly. I think that would make a great back and forth live action series because, like, yeah, I mean, there's just so much mystique to it and so much things that could happen. And I don't know, it's like all kind of playing out in my head. Like, it would be like a perfect adaptation if they were able to make that a live action series. But yeah, I mean, now that I think of it, Promise Neverland would have been a really good one as well. Same type of thing. I guess our number two pick would probably be something along the lines of like this type of vibe that we're talking about where there's so much mystery going on. But yeah, that I guess I don't know how to explain it, but that's kind of the way I'm kind of leaning here. I think Maze Runner anime into live action. I think that's the best way to kind of put it.
Maze Runner was such a good like show and movie series.
Mhm.
1, 2, and 3. I'm pretty sure there was three. I don't remember it completely. But bro, like we got just thrown into a maze, didn't know what was going on, had to figure out how to escape the maze. Once we figured that out, there was a whole nother outside. Someone's controlling everything. You have to figure out who's controlling what. And when I was watching Heavenly Delusion, the one thing I gotta say firstly is like the animations were insane. Like the way they like not the animations itself, but the cinematography, photography part of
Mhm.
it per se. Like the way they panned wide action shots and all that. It just looked mad cinematic. And then it gave me that feel of Maze Runner because everyone was kind of like alone, but they were all together, and they just have to figure out a way out um by basically while connecting with each other.
No, 100%. And that's why I feel like this would make such a great series. Like they could go back and forth, or they can do one movie and then another movie and then kind of combine in the third one. There could be so many different ways that they can do it. That's why I really think that excuse me, Heavenly Delusion would do really well here. But yeah, let's get into the final one here, on.
Yep.
All right. So again, I know you haven't seen this one, on, but this one is such a perfect number one that I kind of had to throw it in here, and that is Erased. Have you seen Erased?
I have not seen Erase, so I can't really speak too much
Okay.
about it. But what do you why do you think it's such a good live anime adaptation?
So first of all, it's realistic as hell. It's easily translatable. Second of all, it's a great story overall. I know people that have been watching anime since this particular year. No, this is like the most talked about anime of that year. And basically, long story short, for those of you guys that haven't heard of it, and I'm not going to spoil it here, but it's about a guy who can sometimes travel back to the past just coincidentally, just randomly. It's usually like a couple of seconds. And then eventually, somehow, he travels back to his childhood self. And he usually can only travel back just for a couple of seconds or like a couple of minutes or whatever it is. But this time around, he's kind of permanently stuck into being like a child. And he remembers that during his childhood years when he was in school, there was like a murder of a girl and one of his classmates. And at the time, he didn't really think too much of it. Everyone kind of just blamed it on this one person. But throughout the entire series, he's kind of thinking like, "Yo, like while I'm back here, let me do justice by this girl. Let me figure out who it is. Let me do all this and that." So it's like kind of like a giant big mystery type of thing. And obviously, the kill is revealed at the very end. That's why I said I'm not going to spoil it because it's a great series. It's only like 12 or 13 episodes, and I think that would be super easy to make into a live action anime or a live action series, whether it's a movie or just a couple episodes.
Yeah,
And
I
yeah,
think they could definitely make that into a movie. Like 12 episodes feels like it's not too much.
yeah, not at all. But it's just like the suspense and the mystery, like the mystique behind it, and all those different factors would just make it a great series to be able to become a live action. Not to mention, it's like we said before, it's realistic, and any movie, I guess you can say any movie production committee or whatever the hell they're called, they can easily do it. So that's why I put this one at number one, because it was such a great series, and I would love to see this in a live action adaptation.
So the way I'm perceiving this as you're saying it, it feels like a very crime, like, detective crime type of situation.
Yeah,
And
I would.
those yeah, those do extremely well, in regular formats. I That's one of my favorite genres when I watch movies. Like one of my favorite movies of all time is The Town, and
Mm,
that's like a whole like crime situation type thing. I know A-Ray fucks with it heavy because my boy's from Boston, and that whole thing I'm pretty sure either took place in Boston or had something to do with Boston, I remember. Or at least like the way the people spoke was like the way you guys speak.
mhm.
So yeah, it was just such a sick movie. I heard it was based on like a true events or whatever. I don't know for sure. But the crime genre just brings suspense up so heavy in such a fast rate that you can kind of like enjoy it in a non-anime fashion for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like we said before, that specific genre does really well, whether it's a regular movie or whether it's anime. I just think that this is a situation where both those worlds combine into one, which it's more of a synergy thing, whereas one plus one equals three, not one plus one equals two, where that extra number comes from the added benefit. So that's kind of where I would put it. That's why I think this one definitely needs a live action adaptation ASAP, especially for people that haven't watched it yet. And especially for people that don't even watch anime, like they would fuck with this for sure. But yeah, I feel like that's a pretty valid list. Even though I made the list myself, I don't care if I say it's valid. Oh, what are your thoughts real
No,
quick?
I think it's fire. I think it's fire. I think even though the ones that I haven't watched, I think those are still fire too.
My guy. If you guys have any ones that you would put on the list, or if you guys think some of the ones I put on here are bad picks, make sure you guys join the Discord and we'll debate about it. Obviously, we won't get too heated. We'll have fun about it. But yeah, make sure you guys check that out. Link will be in the description. And that being said, that's going to be it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you guys on the next episode of Anime Plus. Peace.
Peace.